Hey YouTube family, it's Gina, Gardening Zone 6, I just say 6. 6A, 6B is 6. It's a little bit noisy. One of my neighbors out here at the community garden is tilling up some of his space to plant potatoes and other stuff, but he's working on his potatoes right now. But I just wanted to come to you guys today just to talk about the benefits of even having community gardens in your areas. Um, Say you're somebody, like I said before in other times that I brought it up, someone who feels like they don't have a lot of space. Maybe you're in an apartment or a townhouse, and you share kind of close proximity with neighbors, other tenants. Say you just have a small yard, or you don't want to garden in your yard for one reason or another. Maybe you get a lot of wildlife and you're concerned about the wildlife destroying your crops. Um, Different things. That's the benefit of having something like this to resort to. Um, I love it. I do garden at home. You guys know that. Those that have been following me for a while. If you're new, then you probably don't know that. But I do garden in raised beds and planters at home. But I have a small yard, and I kind of wanted to grow more of the viney things on a larger scale, and doing it out here at the community garden makes it convenient for me. So I have invested in a community garden plot. I now have 2 plots. And just for perspective, where I'm standing now, from the edge where these beds are all the way to the end, that is 4 plots. Okay, so let me pan it around some so you can see, because they have some beds to this side and beds in the front. And there's a fence here for the next garden space, and then it goes all the way to the back, and it's pretty much 4 plots. And I don't even have half of that, so actually it's more than 4 plots here. I have maybe like just under half of that, and the space that I'm currently going to be gardening in. But a lot of these gardeners have been out here for a long time, like 15, 20 years, so on and so forth. And at that time, the plots were much bigger. And the park where we have the garden plots at was finding that some of the gardeners felt like it was just too much space for them to keep up on. So they decided, last year was the first year they did that. They decided, like, when they didn't have a gardener returning who's a year-round gardener. Actually, let me go into that. In my garden, community garden, there are 2 types of gardeners. There are seasonal gardeners, and then there are year-round plot owners. So you can either rent a plot for the garden season, the spring garden season, or you can rent it year-round. When I first started renting my plot, it was $40, I think, year-round. It is now $60 year-round, which I still think you cannot beat. For seasonal gardeners, I want to say it was 20 year-round, so it's probably 30 year-round now. So even for that, you're getting a nice amount of space to grow in. So if you go back to some of my videos, if you're somebody who doesn't follow me, or just started following me, I should say, you will know that my neighbors to my plot, they grow on a high scale. It's a older couple, older Asian couple. I mean, the stuff is so uniform. I talked to the person you hear um, tilling. His name is James, and he was telling me that he believes the husband was an engineer before he retired. Makes sense because their garden space is so organized. Well, later I found out that they actually have two plots. No, three actually. Sorry, three plots. So here's their second one. So last year they grew onions next to me. This year I believe they're going to grow their onions here. Look how uniform that is. And everything they grow is like that. Peppers, beans, everything. So like I said, this year I believe this is where their onions are going to be, because they haven't started anything over there yet. More than likely they rotate every year what they grow, but that's just part of their plot. So they've been gardening here for a very long time. So I believe their plot has like 6 plots in one. So where you see how theirs is from beginning to end, mine is somewhat about that long. Not even that long. I have an 800 square foot space. Now I have 1,600 square feet of space. It is a lot. And if you go back and look at any of the videos, if you've never seen it before, you will see that I can grow a lot on that space. I currently have planted out some things over there, and I haven't really even, I have a lot growing, and I still have a lot of space. So, I will actually do a tour of my space once I really get it together. But just for perspective, you saw where the onions were. The rest of this is theirs as well. They haven't started anything over here yet. And he comes and he tills it up after the season. They get everything cleared out, till it up. He did come out when our weather we were having some good days, but we weren't out of the winter's cold yet. He tilled it up again, and now he's just left it. If he was to probably put his hand down in that soil, it's very loose and it will move. So Ohio's, where I am, our soil's more clay. So you do have to really, work your soil and stuff to get it to acclimate to being a more fluffy soil that your plants are going to thrive in. Okay? But yeah, this is just one of their plots. I love it though. And then this is a different plot. This is not theirs, but this is a different plot. We are responsible for upkeeping it. So if you're an annual gardener, you are responsible for keeping everything trimmed down and everything. So as people start to come out here, our season for the park starts May 10th. So all the seasonal people will be here May 10th. The yearly gardeners have access year round. But the water source, which I didn't even show you, there's spigots all the way up and down these aisles, and in between each section of gardening plots. And you do share it with the people around you, but it works out. I added one of those attachments where you can have 4 hoses hooked up at once, and that's worked perfect for us. Usually there's no more than 2 of us here at a time that are watering, because people come when they have time. So I've never run into an issue where I had to wait to water my plants. But whoever's here is going to be responsible to clear this back down to the soil, and then they'll plant from there. But I wouldn't want mine to get that bad with the grass. But they probably bring out a lawnmower and cut it down, and then probably have a tiller or something. I don't have all that equipment myself, so I don't want my stuff to get that out of hand. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys like what it's like. This is probably a person who actually isn't probably, I could tell, someone who's been gardening here for a while because their plot is pretty big. So, and you can bring whatever you want out here. They do have a couple, like for instance, they have a tree there. I don't think that's allowed. I don't think they had it in the contract before. I think it's there now because I asked somebody about it. I was like, they allow fruit trees? Because I would have put my fruit tree out and just controlled how big it got. But they have a tree there. Don't know what kind of tree that is, but they do have a tree there. At this end of, they have their hoops there. This is all the same plot. It's all the same plot. I'm just walking around it. They have some raised beds over here at this end of their plot. They have like a little shed they built there. So yeah, I mean, everybody gardens different. And, you know, if you're watching people in the community, you realize that everybody gardens different. Even at this plot, everybody gardens different. So, you know, sometimes you might see something. I walk around sometimes just to see what people are doing. Sometimes I might see something I want to try. I've had people stop me and ask me about what I'm doing, and they want to try that. So, you know, we all help each other. And it's actually really a community out here. That's the other benefit, is that it is a community. If if you're a friendly person and you get to know the people that you garden with, say you need to take a vacation or something comes up, that will take care of your space for you. And you don't have to worry about your plants dying on you while you're on vacation or something. They actually do have some food growing over here. Some onions. No, that's garlic. They have some garlic growing over here. And I know if you're somebody who's not familiar with growing onions and garlic, you're probably like, how did you know that? Garlic, let me turn this camera around. Garlic has like thin greens that come out from it. And onions, they look like, if you ever bought buncheon onions or scallions at the grocery store, they almost like are tube-like when they grow up. So that's how you can tell the difference between garlic or onions when it's coming up. I grow both, so yeah. This is the third one for my neighbors. They have nothing. Well, that's not true. They do have something growing over here. I don't know what that is though. Let me see. I'll go around. Because they do have something growing out at the back end of it on this one. I only found out that they had these this year. I thought they just had the one next to me, which I was in awe about because it's so freaking big. And to find out they're growing at 3 of these, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to find out this year because they are friendly and I have talked to them, but I've never asked. Like, I didn't know they grew. I knew they grew that big on that scale over there, but to have 3 plots, they have to have like a grocery store or something. They have to. I think somebody mentioned me, maybe they had a restaurant. I'm thinking grocery store, like an Asian market or something like that. I think that might be some type of lettuce. I can't tell though. Let's see. Maybe somebody, who knows more about some of these plants know what it is. It looks almost like it's radish or something, but then again, it doesn't. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's some garlic. So they had onion in the first one I went by. This is some of their garlic. They have more onions over here. So those are some of their onions. I don't know what's going to be in the middle here. It looks like they have something going on there. Maybe that's some garlic chives in the very, very middles. But to me, it looks like whatever's going on there is probably not going to stay. They're probably going to till that up and have something else going on. I'm not even sure what that is there. It could be weed, like just grass and weeds that grew up, but it could be something. I don't know. So I'm not sure. I'm just going around it. It looks like they might have some food growing up in there, but whatever this is something that's flowered. On this end, they have more onions. More onions coming up. So, and they grow a lot of onions, but they grow a lot of peppers and beans too. They grew a lot of sweet potatoes last year. They actually shared some of the sweet potatoes with me, just asked if I wanted some and brought them over. So yeah, they got more bunches of onions down here. Might be some leeks. That looks like leeks there. So yeah, everybody does a little different. So this one next to it, somebody's tilled it up. It doesn't belong to the same people, but they got theirs tilled up and ready. So just for perspective, y'all, let me step back so y'all can see. Now this one is probably going to be one that gets broken up into maybe 6 smaller plots. So they'll make a walkway in the middle, and they'll string it off so people know whose is whose, and then they'll divide them up. I have a feeling that might be what's happening here because of how well it's been tilled up. It's probably somebody that wasn't coming back and they got it ready, because this is where our seasonal people typically garden, because you can tell seasonal people cannot put fencing up. Annual gardeners can. We can put up any kind of fencing we want to. We can pretty much do a lot of stuff that the seasonal people can't, because at the end of the season they have to clear their area so that they can get it ready for the next season. So this is just one long row of plots. If you can tell, there's dirt ahead. You can see it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 4 more rows in addition to this one of where gardeners will be at who are seasonal gardeners. Depending on if they didn't have any any annual gardeners to take over this plot, this one might end up being a seasonal plot as well, but usually they kind of try to keep them separate, because it just makes it easier to know who's doing what, and easier to make sure that when it's time to get it cleared up, they do. Even here, there's spigots. There's spigots in between each row. So this comes with the plots. We get for that $60 a year, not a month, I'm sorry. $60 a year. We get water. Now they do we are a very cold state, y'all. So at the end of the season, late fallish, not really late, kind of early fallish, mid fallish, they do winterize the water spigots, so the water gets shut off and it doesn't come back on until May 10th this year anyway. So for the annual gardeners, we do have to make our own provisions for water, but they provide water with that $60 a year. They provide compost and they provide wood chips. And I'm in a park, y'all, so they just cut back trees and make more space. This isn't even being used yet. So this is more space that could be used for garden plots, and there's more than this. And as they cut down trees, they chip them, and that ends up being our wood chips. And like I said, they have compost, and it's like a big pile of it in between all the rows, and the same thing with the wood chips. So in my opinion, you can't beat that. You just can't. Like, and it's the community of it. If you're somebody who's new, a lot of with gardening, just like with us, the YouTubers, we love to talk about growing food. We love to talk about how it's done, what we do, why you should, all the things. These people are no different in the community garden. And some are new and some are seasoned. But they are usually, when you ask questions, they're usually willing and ready to oblige. Like, they're ready to share the information and hopefully teach you something. There's a lot of elders in our garden community, and there's a lot of young people. One of my neighbors, Jasmine, she's a little younger than me. I think I might have her by plus 10 years, I think, if I had to guess. And we do chat a lot. We actually have each other's numbers, so we will reach out to each other when things are going on. And she also has a YouTube channel. She changed her name though, and I think it's The Faithful Gardener, or what I'll do, y'all know what I'll do. I'll tag her, I'll add it to the bottom, or I'll tag it within the video, her channel. But she's doing great. She gardens at home. I don't know if she still does, but she did. And then she also has 3 plots, I think now. No, she has 2. We both have 2. She tried to get a 3rd one though. So they have this space, like when you get done with your plants and you pull them up, you can throw them over here, and they'll just let them compost down. And this is like just a dump for your plants at the end of the season. So those who, like myself, don't want to do a lot of work in the new season, we get that done most of it, as much as we can, at the end of the growing season for the spring. And a lot of us grow throughout the fall and winter. I don't like to deal with stuff like this. And yes, they grew stuff. So that's the remnants from whatever they grew. And now they'll have to come and clean all that up. I can't. I don't know what that is. Is that weed or something? I don't know, y'all. And like this one's the same. It's a lot to clean up. So, yeah. But thank you guys. How you doing? I wanted to share that with you guys. That there is a lot of benefit in doing it. Also, all of them don't require you to pay to be a part of the community garden. Some of them want sweat equity. So you just to be there to help others, and others will help you set up your plot. And then you are responsible for keeping it tidy and keeping yourself within your plot space and things like that. So definitely, if you want to grow food, but you don't so much want to grow it at your home, or maybe you can't. Maybe you don't live by yourself. Maybe you have roommates. Maybe you live with your parents. Whatever. Look into community garden plots as a means to grow your own food, because trust me, there is nothing like growing your own food. It really isn't. Once I had my first taste of foods that I grew myself, the grocery store stuff can't do nothing for me. I've even tried some of the things that, some stores have items that come in from local farmers, and some of them are great, and then some of them you can tell they're probably trying to rush the growth of it, so the flavor is not really there, and that's the difference. So I've made myself back a lot that's next to mine that belongs to my neighbors, the Asian couple. So this is part of theirs. I couldn't even see what was growing over here. That's how big their plot is. And you see how there's like coverage as a line barrier? This is the other side. This is the side I could see. And before, in the front here, it was rows and rows of the onions. And then after the onions, it was like rows and rows of peppers. And I did ask what kind of peppers they were growing. It was different varieties of like Asian peppers, Thai peppers and stuff. And then they had beans behind it. Somewhere in this patch they had sweet potatoes, because that's where she harvested from. So it had to be somewhere in here. And yeah, that's how it was. So now I'm back to mine for perspective. And yeah, I'm still getting some of it together. I kept this covered because I have a friend who gardens out here with me, and she wanted to still grow in the landscape covering. And it's pretty wide. But over here, I prepped all this at the end of last season, so that when I came this year, all I had to do is plant stuff. So one of my neighbors, She doesn't live that, this park is not that convenient to her, and now that she really does have a lot of help, she got rid of a lot of stuff from her plot. So she said I could have it, and I took this trellis, and it has the T-post and everything. So I'm going to use that to allow some of my tomatoes to grow up on. That's going to get trashed. I pulled that up from here where it's kind of blank. There's nothing there. And I'll have to work this up. I have some squash growing here. I have some onions growing there. That hay is covering potatoes that are growing there. This is stuff that was here all winter. So my collards and my kale are both going to seed. And that is garlic around it. Remember I told you the leaves are flat with garlic. And I do have some onions out here that are not the ones that I was pointing at. I have onions over here. So, and they're just babies. But see how they're not flat. So what I did is I put rows of onions all the way down on both sides, and then in the middle are tomatoes. Now I don't have any tomatoes here yet because I need to get some more. I started all this that's already out here was started from seed, but I didn't get as many San Marzardos as I wanted, so I'm just going to purchase some. But these are my tomatoes, and they're in between rows of onions. Here is the plot that I'm taking over, so it has to get tilled up. They will take down all this debris, all the stuff that she left that she grew. She had squash and corn and beans growing over here, and some sunflowers on the end. They will pull all that up, and then they will till up the ground. It will be nice and clear like this is when I come back, when it's ready. But since she didn't come back, I told them I would like to get that plot as well. So Jasmine is over here, and hers goes to like where you see that. That's where mine will go. It will be that long. Only reason why I'm not going that far out is because I left my fence up. She took her fence down. So I do have fence up here. That's it. And there's no other fencing up other than the one I put up for my watermelon. And now that I have this other plot, I might extend the watermelon patch. I haven't decided yet, but I really might do that. But I just put these down recently, so those are the next round of onions that will come up. But a lot of the stuff that Jasmine has, she was able to inherit from the lady that's not coming back. So these big planters here, she has a couple of those. And I want to say the ones she built up with the wood, she also got from her. And she has a lot more wood over there with the bricks. She got that from her. I didn't want any of the woods because I don't want to grow in raised beds here. I want to grow in the ground and see how that does for me, because so far I've had a lot of luck with the things that are growing out here in ground. So I have peppers out here, and that's some weeds, but peppers. And I have a couple rows of them, and I left room so I could walk between the rows of food as it come up in every row. So I have tomatoes, then onions, then tomatoes, and then I'll be able to walk on both sides of the tomatoes. And then I have a pathway between the tomatoes and the peppers, and then a pathway between the next set of peppers. So yeah, I do have to get all this trimmed down that is grown up, but I'll toss that out. I'll bring my weed whacker out and trim that down, and I probably will cover it to kill off all those weeds this year. And then next year, it'll be space to be able to plant in, and I won't have to worry about that. But anyway, with you, I was up here, and I was like, let me walk through and just talk about some of the benefits of having the community garden. Just the community of it, a way of growing food. That's the biggest plus. It's just a provision of space to be able to grow your own food. And like I said, all of them don't cost money. So even in my city, I just like it out here. So I was willing to pay for it. I didn't think it costs much. And for the space that I get. And as you can see, I have rows of tomatoes. I have 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 tomato plants out here, and maybe like, I don't know, 15 pepper plants. And then I have 4 squash plants. I have the garlic, and then those plants that are going to seed. Then I have potatoes and some onion. And I still have space, even outside of the fact that I have this covering, I still have some space to grow in. And then I have this whole plot behind me to grow in. So yeah, and if I wanted to, I can till this up and grow over here as well. So, oh, and I do have moringa out here as well, which one of them is not doing very well at all. I got some water in the car, so I'll give it some water. One of them is hanging in there, and it's probably going to bounce back. The soil is very moist underneath, but up top is like, and it's probably dealing with some transplant shock. So it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content, and I hope you consider getting you a community garden plot. If if there's a need for it. If you're somebody who is already growing on acres of land, you don't need this. I don't have acres, so I needed more space, and this was, a valuable asset for me. So I just wanted to share that. I want people to look into that for their areas. Google it and see what's out there. And if that's something you're looking for, go visit it, see what you feel about it, and go from there, okay? All right, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.